Good evening and welcome. My name's Reverend Michael McMorrow. I'm coming to you from our sanctuary here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, where we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And I'm joined tonight with Mike Carlin, who's going to be helping me out as soon as we cue up the music. And so until he gets up here, we're just going to take a deep, conscious breath. Just allow ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we wait for the music to come up. If it's going to come up. It's hard to find good help that'll work for free, you know? There we go. All right, let's try this again. Let's just take a deep, conscious breath together. Yes, and just claiming this time for our own, and even with that feeling of goodwill, just knowing that the world doesn't always work out the way we want it to. So let's come together for our call to service. So we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. That fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So as Mike lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. The second candle we light for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center. And as Michael lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
just knowing in this moment that there is this one light within, this light of the sacred, however we know that to be. And so as we come together to pray in an interfaith way, it is knowing that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life of the divine expressing in, through, and as all of life. And so in this way, there is no spot where God is not. And so we are one. We are one with the Spirit. We are one in the Spirit. And as we allow ourselves to connect with this idea and with this greater truth of our being, we just claim this time to be our own, to commune in a deeper way to that which we know the Spirit to be, the ground of all being. And so I know for each one watching here live or later, that there is this wonderful opportunity to have a sweet conversation with the deepest aspects of self and with the Spirit itself. And knowing this, we just release it, knowing it's done. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So Mike is like that guy who used to spin the plates on Captain Kangaroo, if any of you remember that guy. So anyway, I'm just grateful to have him here to be of service for this meditation time. And so we've been working, or I've been working with this book here, Start Where You Are, which is from the teacher Pema Chodron, a Buddhist nun, longtime Buddhist nun, and author of several books on meditation and on life, right, and on dharma, or our life's purpose, and how we interact with that. So we have this interesting time that's expressing itself right now, known as the coronavirus in shelter, and some of us in various parts of America, and certainly in parts of Europe now, are really feeling deeply sequestered. So it's not quite like that yet in Los Angeles. So it gives us an opportunity we have more time available, and perhaps like me, you are feeling the call to go deeper and maybe recommit to our spiritual practice. And so we get to do that right now around as I take us into meditation. So I'll use the technique that it will be guided for the first 3 to 5 minutes or so. And then we'll go into the silence for about 15 or 20 minutes. And then I'll just do a little prayer or a mental treatment at the end of it, and then we'll be done. We could be out of here in about 7:45, 10 to 8, something like that. All right, but I did want to share this with you. This reading is from the book Start Where You Are, and it's from the chapter entitled Bringing All That We Meet to the Path. And how perfect is that right now? Bringing all of it, all that we meet to the path. And so she's speaking to wanting to live life from this place of me victorious, me win, right, of being a winner all the time. Of course, this is the state of the ego, and she has this interesting definition of it, that ego is like a room of our own, a room with a view, with temperatures and smells just the way we like. You want it your way. You just like to have a little peace. We just like to have a little happiness. We're just kind of like, give me a break. But the more that we think this way, the more we try to get life to come out so that it always suits us, the more our fear of other people and what's outside our room grows. Rather than becoming more relaxed, we start pulling down the shades and locking the door. When we do go out, we find the experience more and more unsettling and disagreeable. We become touchier, more fearful, more irritable than ever. The more we try, the more we try to get it our way, the less we feel at home. I'm transposing this from second person to third. So the more we try to get it our way, the less we feel at home. To begin to develop compassion for ourselves and others, we have to unlock the door. We don't open it yet because we have to work with our fear that somebody we don't like might come in. Then as we begin to relax and befriend those feelings, we begin to open it. Right? So we begin to own our own feelings of discomfort or whatever, and before we step out. And sure enough, in come the music and the smells that we don't like. And sure enough, somebody puts a foot in and tells us that you should be different than you are, different religion, or vote for someone you don't like, or give money that you don't want to give. Now you begin to relate with those feelings. We develop some compassion connecting with that soft spot. We relate with what begins to happen when we're not protecting ourselves so much. We become more curious than afraid. To be fearless isn't really to overcome fear. It is to come to know its nature. We just open the door more and more, and at some point we'll begin to feel capable of inviting all sentient beings as our guests. So, simple. Right? Well, this is one of the benefits of meditation, of course, is that the more we meditate and the stronger we have, or the stronger practice that we have, even if it's just a few minutes a day that we do consistently, right? We create space within the mind, space between the thoughts, and then we become more responsive to life and less reactive. And then when we're more responsive, then it becomes far easier to learn to roll with life rather than fight against it. So let's get into our meditation now. And so thank you, Pema, for those words of wisdom that she wrote so long ago, and yet they're so very apropos today. So let's just start by getting our jiggles and wiggles out. Maybe stretch a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Tell the kids to leave you alone for 20 minutes. Of course, now the door, they'll start knocking, right? All right. So let's just take a deep breath together. And just sigh it out. And then feel the body relax in that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called following the breath. And what we mean by that is to simply notice the sensation of the breath in the nostril. So this can be pressure or temperature. Let's just notice it. relax the face. We're not like, gotta focus on my nose. No, we're not doing that. We're just relaxing. And you'll notice that as you focus your attention on the breath, the mind begins to still. So let's just do a quick scan of the body. I like my feet flat on the ground, anchored in my seat. I bring my attention up the leg, and sometimes I have tension in the knees, so I just breathe into that. So what does that mean? I'm just taking a deep breath, and then when I release, I'm releasing the knee. Following up the leg, into the sit bones. And just generally bringing my attention to the spine, which I'm straight spine without tension, balanced over the sit bones. Erect head, following the breath. So sometimes we carry tension in our lower back. If you tuck your tailbone in underneath a little bit, you can release that. Feel that? A little release there, and then the chair supports the back. Staying with the breath. So we're going to take a breath now. When on the exhale, we're going to allow our shoulders to really drop and the neck to lengthen, okay? So taking a deep breath, holding it at the top, and release. And feel those shoulders drop. Again, return to the breath. And so you may find as we move into the quiet that you may begin to detect the movement of the breath on your upper lip. That'll take you down a little deeper. And this is not something to strive for, but simply to pay attention to. Feel some tingling sensation above the eyebrows, even on the crown of the head. And if you feel a little sensation, a little itch, try to resist the urge to scratch it, and just breathe into that. And finally, as thoughts arise, and they will, we just observe the thought. Just label it as thinking, and then just let it go. And watch it drift away the way the stream carries away the leaf. And then return to the breath. If we find ourselves spun out on a real long thought thread and we'd catch ourselves thinking, that's okay. Just observe it, and then we can take a deep breath and then reset it. And just go back to following the breath again. All right, so let's do that together. A deep breath. Release. Now we're going to move into the silence for about 15 minutes. And I'll keep track of the time for you while you continue to follow the breath. So we bring our attention gently back into the room, staying with the breath. So let's work now with this space that we've created. And join me in imagining that there is at the heart center a flame. A flame of the divine itself. And so with each in-breath, we are fanning that flame. And that flame is growing in brilliance, and that this is a flame that illuminates, it does not consume. And so with each in-breath, this light within now is growing and expanding. Like the ebb and flow of life itself. So we're breathing in light, exhaling love. Breathing in light, commingling with the light, and exhaling love. So with each in-breath, this light of love then continues to expand. So now it's a globe of light and love. And the torso extending beyond our torso, side to side, front to back, top to bottom. Staying with it, the breath. Till finally we're sitting in this light and love. So if we're meditating with anyone right now, we're just knowing this light is commingling with our fellows. And so we bring into this light, this light of love, of infinite possibilities that we have created here, a field of light of infinite possibilities for good. And again, staying with the breath and knowing that we are now being lifted and revitalized by this light, this energy. That we know that at a very cellular level, that every molecule, every cell is aligning with this light and love. Fortifying us on a molecular level. Every cell, every muscle, every organ, every system, every neuron, that our circulatory system is replenishing every cell at the highest levels, that we are emanating a light of immunity. And so as we continue to breathe and expand this light, now we know that as we see ourselves now as radiators of light, the light of immunity, that we are knowing this now for those closest to us, our loved ones. And we bring them now into this light of knowing this field of immunity, that we can extend even more for those in our businesses or places of employment or our neighborhood. That we are knowing that we are working with an infinite field that cannot be diminished in any way, that we are knowing and growing in our thinking, in this extending this cosmic invitation. So beyond our immediate neighborhood and cares and concerns for our city now, or which we live, that we are knowing a field of light and love that is immunizing those we do not know personally. That we are extending again this light of healing, of immunization, of light and love for our entire state. That we are knowing this for North America. So for New York and Seattle and Washington State, New York State, or all of North and South America, for whatever ailments may be presenting themselves, a field of light and love and immunization. So that finally we extend this to the entire planet itself. Because we are recognizing and knowing that we are simply knowing a greater truth is at work here, that the infinite power and presence of the divine itself is at work. So, bringing it back to ourselves again. Let's just know together as we close out this healing meditation that there is but one thing going on here, one power, one presence, one source, one life, one living intelligence. This is the fuel and fire of all religious thought and experience, and so each within our own way we are connecting with that again from the deepest aspects of our heart right now. And so in this way we know that this time has been time well spent, that we have had a deepening in our experience of that which we call the divine, which will continue to resonate throughout the evening and throughout the week. So that when we hit the pillow tonight, we sleep deeply and soundly. Sleep that is restorative in nature, that we dream sweet dreams, that we awaken feeling refreshed, revitalized, full of vim and vigor and excitement for life, that we in this way are able to show up as our best self, as our God self, expressing that we are allowing ourselves to allow the divine to have an experience of itself by means of our life and by means of all we meet. And so for this intention, for the words spoken here this evening, for the intentions held within the hearts of anyone listening to this meditation, we know that the ear of the divine is listening even now, that we take a deep breath together. And in that release, allowing that release to be the release of all these cares and concerns and tensions and all of it unto that aspect of the mind of the divine that says only yes. Yes, my beloved, yes. In pleased. So we release it to its divine unfoldment, knowing that's where the work is done. We release it. We let it go. We let it be so. And let's acknowledge this together by saying, and so it is. Amen. So if you're still online with us, we will be moving online at, Mike will start the live stream on YouTube, on this YouTube channel at 10:25 this Sunday. And it looks like it may be for another, another few Sundays, we'll see. And of course we'll be featuring also the music of Ken Francis, who is our music director here. The center will be closed, so please do not come here to the center because you will be sent home because we practice extreme distancing while we do this. And so until then, just know that you are loved. Peace, blessings. How is it spoken? Peace and long life for you and for me. All right. So just know that you are loved. And you can see me tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon on Facebook Live on Michael McMorrow. If you would like prayer support, just drop me a line at either at my Facebook page. You can messenger me there. Or you can send me a note at revmike@cslgh.org. And we can do some prayer work together, should you need it, all right? So until then, know that you are loved, peace and blessings. Over and out. Adios. Vayos con Dios. Are we off? Okay.
The audio's off. I'm going to let the announcements scroll. And here, I'll block out the screen.
They're not watching me scratch my nose right now, right?
Well, for a second then. Funding the announcements. Oh, that was hard to, until I figured out how to hold the candle, the clicker, and the...
Yeah, well, remember I told you I was going to be tricky.
Yeah, maybe, I think it's easier for you to do that.
Well, next time you can work